Hi guys, and welcome to the Lonely Catch Up. It's myself, Rampant FM, and as always, I'm joined by Mozza. How are you doing, mate?
I'm really well, mate. How's you today?
Yeah, pretty good. Bit of an exciting weekend, the Lowland League. Yeah, a lot to talk about today, I think. But we'll start with our official catch up Twitter. Obviously, we introduced it in New Year's Day, and we want just to thank everyone that's followed us, including the players, the managers, everyone that's sort of got involved. Like exactly what we want, really. Just engagement in the league, having a bit of a laugh as well. Obviously, we did have our King of Lowland League patter, which was won by Spartans, Twitter guy. Really hard to beat with the Jobby Gate, and obviously we had a few names. I think we picked all right actually. Sean Winter, Curtis Wilson, Adele Beatty as well. Like just really good guys. Jordan Hopkinson. We did get a few votes for Stirling Unis and the Shire Chaplain as well. So just a bit of fun to start the account, but yeah, over 150 followers in 5 days is pretty good. So hopefully that means people are listening to the podcast and supporting us as well as they can. And because really, it's another tool to promote the league, promote the players, the managers, just everyone basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be surprised if wee Sean's not implied it's been a fix yet, to be fair. But we'll keep them going. We'll keep doing little things here and there. So do feel free to fire away any ideas to us as well if you've got them.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll get into the action, mate. As I said, it's been a bit of an exciting weekend off the Lowland League. No gala this week, but we'll start with Edisport, who were away to Vale. Edisport obviously never played last week because they were on their break, as one club usually does every week. How do you start with this one?
I'll tell you how we start with this one. We clearly picked this as a game of the week, so we knew this was going to be full of goals, didn't we?
Yes.
But no, to be fair, it's happened to me just a couple of times this season, so it doesn't happen very often. But Vale have made me eat my words, so I've got a bit of the humble pie ready to go, because there was me implying, oh, it looks like the goals have dried up a wee bit, but Ando's got them ready to go, and well, value for money, you can't complain with a 5-4 game either way, can you? Just it's them back to their early season form. Will just score more than you, and you get certain games that it's just kind of poor goals and so on, but from the people that have been there that we've heard from, it sounds like genuinely some decent football was played as well, and it was good goals. It wasn't just the odd deflection here or there, the own goals or whatever. So great advert for the league.
Definitely. Just going through the goals, Vale were 1-0 up within 15 minutes. Mark Berry getting the goal there. They scored 2 minutes later with Brad Rickson. It was a penalty for Vale in the 26th minute. It was a red card for Theo Cove. I really apologise if I've mispronounced his name there. Salau did stop the penalty, so it was still 2-0 Vale. Edisport got back into it just before half time. It was a Craig McBride own goal. Vale went 3-1 up in 51 minutes with Ryan Curry, and Edisport they must have just went up the park, because a minute later they went up. Alex Abadi getting the goal for Edisport, and 64 minutes played, it was 3-3. Matthew Flynn getting the goal for Edisport. But Vale, not to be outdone, in the 66th minute, Liam Ireland gave them the lead back, and on the 79th minute, Brad Rickson made it 5-3, and doubling his tally for the day. And Edisport, yeah, still not out of it. In the 87th minute, Mark Kelly made it 5-4. What a game that is! It's typical of Vale, I think, from maybe not the last few weeks, as we've said, but yeah, pretty much just trying to outscore teams, I think, back to their old form of earlier in the season, I think.
Yeah, I think they've just thrown caution to the wind and thought, sod it, let's go for it. Especially, to be fair, a wee shout out for Edisport as well, given that they went down to 10 men with, 25 minutes on the clock, something like that?
Yep.
And they've came back. They could easily have been 3-0 down at that point, within half an hour down to 10 men, and you're thinking it's going to be a long, long day. But no, fair play to them. They've just kept fighting on. they've really made Vale sweat right at the very end as well in the last few minutes. But as you say, fantastic advert for the league and an important one for Vale because that's you'd say that's pretty comfortable now, I think.
Yep. And in terms of Edisport, obviously it's not looking good, and I think 4 or 5 losses in a row now. But it was always going to be hard with 10 men, I think. And as you say, they've had a bit of fight there, trying to get back into the game. And from what it sounds, it could have easily been a draw. We could have had a proper cricket score with that one, I think. So
yeah. For Edisport, when you're looking at things, they're probably already looking ahead to next season now. Like last season was all about getting used to being in this level of football. This season, they've had a similar experience to Cumbernauld Colts last time round, in that they've started really quickly, they fell off a wee bit, but they've put the building blocks in place, and they'll be looking ahead to next time thinking, right, let's push on and get right up to the top of the league and challenge the big boys up there. Obviously big boys relative to the level, because any team can start a season with aspirations of challenging at this level, obviously. So I don't think they'll be too disheartened by it, knowing the way that Chris Ewan's an eternal optimist and he's got his plan in place, looking up. So I suspect we'll see this as a decent building year towards a higher goal.
Yep, definitely. So getting into the next game, it was Cumbernauld Colts 0, East Kilbride 3. They were up 1-0 in 25 minutes. It was Chris Humphrey holding the ball up in the corner. He lays it off to Jamie Longworth, who drives and cuts it back to Craig Malcolm, who buries the ball into the net. Just before half-time on the 41st minute, it was a wide free kick for East Kilbride delivered into the box. Shout for a penalty, but the ball breaks to Reid, who smashes the ball into the bottom corner. 67th minute, it was a throw-in taken, and Reid whips the ball into the box, and it meets the head of Craig Malcolm, who headers home. And that was pretty much the game. And as we discussed last week, it looks like Craig Malcolm's getting in amongst the goals again, and it looks like East Kilbride. I mean, we thought it was going to be a bit of a tricky game for them, but they've done it again. I just don't see them dropping points the way that they're playing. They've just been absolutely solid. And they look like they're marching towards the title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we set it up, didn't we, last weekend, saying that BSC and Kelty and the chasing pack couldn't really afford to drop points anymore, because Kelby have just been absolutely relentless in their progress the last month or so. Actually, the last couple of months, when you look back at it. And they're still strengthening as well. So they've clearly seen January as an opportunity to seal the deal. They want to get up this season. There's no question about that. The signings like Humphrey, they're a real statement of intent. I could never have seen somebody like Chris Humphreys come down to a team at this level beforehand, but they're just relentless. You can't really say much more about it. That's the best compliment I can give them, because there doesn't seem to be any doubt or any worries or any nervousness at all in that squad. The kind of core of them have been there and done it and won this title before, and have added quality to it, proven quality in the leagues above. And who's going to kind of put it past them getting up this season? I can't see them dropping the 3 games they'd need to drop now for anyone else to get a look at. Like if we're looking at the table now, they've got 11 games left. Out of those 11 games, can you see them dropping 3 of them?
No, I really can't see them dropping 3 games. Not the way that they're going at the moment. I think they've got a few games coming up. Obviously, we mentioned last week, Sparta and Civil Service. They've got 2 to play at Kelty, but realistically, we thought the Colts might have, especially at Broadwood, would have maybe had a chance. But I mean, they've went there and won comprehensively, and if they can do it, Broadwood, they can do it at Ainsley Park, they can do it at New Central Park. I don't think it's I don't think it matters really. They just want the title, and at the moment it's theirs to lose, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. On the flip side, the Colts are in a similar position to Edgy Sport, I'd suggest, as well now, in that their focus will basically be looking to get into the top four and plan ahead for next year, I'd suspect. They do still have a game in hand on the teams above them, so they can get right up to kind of in behind Spartans and civil service. Their aim will probably be to come fourth when you look at the table just now, but another decent season for them. And they obviously shouldn't be disheartened by losing to Kilby in that manner because almost everyone has.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I said last week that they're still my dark horse for top four, and with the likes of Spartans and Civil, in fairness, dropping points, I think Colts are still in a shout, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting into the next game, it was Whitehill Welfare 1, Spartans 1. Just a shout out to Whitehill Welfare here. They had two debutants, two making their first start, 4 under-20s in the squad, and 12 of the squad aged 21 and under. Quite remarkable for Whitehill there.
Yep.
They went 1-0 up in the 38th minute. Apparently an absolute peach of a goal from Kev Keane. He beats two players down the left-hand side and rifles a shot into the net. Spartans did have the ball in the net just before half-time, but it was flagged for offside. Whitehill, it sounded to me like they really could have put more than the one past Spartans, because they did have a chance to double their lead. It was a great run by Kieran Somerville down the left, who plays the ball into Finlay Corner, who his pass finds James McPartland, but his shot is saved, and Michael Hamilton's follow-up goes just wide. It wasn't to be, as Whitehill have experienced over the last few games. It was a goal for Spartans, in-swing and corner not cleared, and Ian McFarlane was on hand to swoop inside the 6-yard box and secure a late equaliser. You know, I said last week, Mozza, that Whitehill need a win, and they do, but I think a result like that they probably weren't fancied in getting, even a draw against Spartans, that should lift the spirits there, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did say last week, didn't we, that even if they got a point off Spartans, you could see it as a declaration of intent, given that things have been improving. They just need to start getting the points. And they'll be upset to have conceded in the last 5 minutes, because it sounds like they've given them a right good game. They had their noses in front. They could have been 2 in front, and Spartans do what they've done so often and get a late goal. So, on the one hand, they might have a wee bit of a heads down because of it, but at the same time, you've mentioned they've got so many kids in the team now. They're also getting a bit of energy out of them and a bit of kind of a drive. The young boys won't be scared playing football, not even with relegation on the cusp of things. They're just going out and trying to earn themselves a spot, ultimately. And from what we've been kind of hearing, it sounds like they've got a bit of energy about the team, and that'll no doubt be as a result of the younger lads coming in and really pushing to be mainstays, essentially. But no, we need to give a shout out to Ian Little on the job he's doing just now, I think, because all it takes is one win, and then we could be having a whole different kind of chat, especially with other results the way they've gone for them. They've been they went in their favour this weekend, so it's not the end of the world, put it that way.
Definitely not.
They're a point closer to where they need to be, and well, it's going to be some cup finals from now to the end of the season for them, put it that way.
Of course, we talked about Spartans last week, and we felt that was, the title. They've probably lost their chance of regaining it now. I think it remains the same, obviously, with the draw against Whitehill. I think they're going to be strengthening this month, certainly, but I think it's probably a wee bit too late for them, as I think we agreed last week as well.
Yeah, they've dropped points this season they wouldn't have dropped last time, to keep it nice and simple. Last year was typified by them scoring late winners over and over, week to week. It was always in the last 10 minutes. They were just squeezing a win out of games that they might not necessarily have played that well in, but that's what champions do. And they've not managed to replicate that this time round. Like this is exactly the kind of game last year they'd escaped to a 2-1 win. So one of these things, we know them as a club and what they're all about. They'll be back, the same strength and the same the same optimism next season, but it's just a wee bit too much for them now this campaign to catch up, I think.
Yep. Just like last week, my match of the week ended 1-1. I'm not going to. I don't think I'll choose a match of the week because it'll end in 1-1 next week too. But no, it was the Uni derby. Stirling Uni 1 and Edinburgh Uni 1. From what I heard, the first half was dominated by Stirling Uni. The Stirling Uni Twitter obviously, asking itself, how is it still 0-0? Edinburgh came into the second half, which they did against Kelty as well. So obviously they're never out of it. Edinburgh Uni, it seems. 71 minutes played. Bonner has the ball in the net, but the assistant's flag goes up. Like a minute later, I would say Edinburgh take the lead from a corner, free header at the back post for Mark Waters. Obviously Stirling Uni, from what I heard, they dominated the game in most respects, so they weren't out of it. Lewis Bonner won the penalty. Lewis Bonner scores the penalty, and Stirling Uni could have won it at the end, but it was a tough draw for Stirling Uni from what I heard. So much possession, so many chances.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, though, they were a goal down, and they could have lost all 3 points here. So they've done well to come back and kind of patch it up ultimately. And we said that Lewis Bonner was a key man for them, didn't we? Last week.
Yep.
So seems to be the case here that he was the one that had the goal that was questionably flagged offside. I don't think I've really heard it absolutely one way or the other if it was or not. But tends to be the case when there's two teams arguing the toss. But as you say, it sounds like Stirling had pretty much all the possession, but Edinburgh, they've become adept this season at soaking that up, banging on the counter, getting goals when they need to, the likes of Abdul Yusuf up front, and they've got to the point now where you'd say they're almost prolific at it.
Definitely.
They've got a cracking point there despite not having most of the play. They almost nicked it as well. A fair enough draw ultimately. Both teams go home feeling a little bit like they could have had all 3 points, and on to next week.
Chris Geddes, I heard him speaking to Rocksport, obviously, because it was their match of the week too. He said this is the sort of game that he judges his boys on and judges himself on. I don't think he could be too harsh with them, from what I heard, because it sounded to me like they probably should have won it, but in fairness to Edinburgh Uni, they got their goal. They done what they had to do, soak up pressure, as we mentioned, and they almost nicked it. And Edinburgh Uni definitely been impressive this season, and they're looking probably for their highest finish in the league since being in it.
Yeah, but they're organised really well. They're structured. They know what their job is as a team. It's not really a team of individuals. It's a proper team they've got. And I think you're right with Chris there. He does tend to be quite harsh on himself, I think. A lot of the time when you see his thoughts and his comments, he obviously demands a lot out of himself as a manager. But the thing with Stirling Uni is you're restricted to the player pool that you've got. The one thing they potentially might lack is an absolute creator, especially when you're in that situation where there's 10 men behind the ball and you need to find a way through it.
Yep.
Lewis Bonner, he kind of combines the creative and the goal scoring, but he is more of an out and out goal scorer when it boils down to it. So one of those days, and they'll be back in the winning trail soon enough. I've got no doubt about that.
Getting into another derby, I know not for everyone. We did see a cheeky comment on Twitter, but never mind. Gretna,
is that the big derby you're referring to?
The big derby, yes, the big derby. This is exactly why we have Twitter. Absolute fantastic bit of banter there. But Gretna absolutely battered Dalbeattie 5-2. Dalbeattie had the lead. Lee Wells in the 34th minute. Daniel Smales in the 40th minute for Gretna to equalise, and Jake Smith just before half time, probably taking all the momentum away from Dalbeattie, giving Gretna the lead just before half time. It was Daniel Smales again. He got his brace just after the second half kicked off to make it 3-1. Stuart Gray 59th minute. Dalbeattie not quite out of it, but Aidan Kerr in the 74th minute to get 2 for Dalbeattie, and Kevin Connolly just basically finishing it off in the 78th. They were just absolutely barred from Gretna. From I heard one of the Dalbeattie players, I don't know if he wants a shout out or not, but yeah, that's exactly how he described the game. They got absolutely barred, you know what I mean? And in fairness, we've said it loads of times, Gretna can do that to teams on their day, and I was expecting probably a bit more of a fight from Dalbeattie, but given the derby aspect, but Gretna just did what they had to do. Absolute smashed it, really.
I think you're bang on with what you said, that the wind was taken out their sails at half time with those 2 late Gretna goals in the first half. Because 10 minutes left to go in the first half, you're thinking we're 1-0 up. This is a chance for us to go and kind of pull away from danger. Then you're going in at half time deflated. Yep. And straight after half time, Smale scores again. So there's no worse way to kind of have a 10-15 minute spell of football than conceding right before and right after half time to totally turn the game against you. But Daniel Smales has been getting in the goals recently. He's really stepped up for Gretna. Obviously Connolly's back in the score sheet again as well, the main man for last season. But I think we need to give Daniel Smales a bit a shout out here, because he's really contributing for his team. And there's no coincidence that this being a big game, Gretna have stepped up in it. They tend to do well at home when it's a bigger game, or if there's a bit of bragging rights on. And they've stepped up again, and fair play to them. It's a cracking result for them, 5-2 against a team in Dalbeattie who are fighting for their lives.
Yep, definitely. And just in fairness to Dalbeattie, it was always, as I say, it was going to be hard for them because we know what Gretna can do, but they're certainly not out of that battle with Whitehill. Whitehill closed the gap where, I think they're 5 points away from them now. Dalbeattie will be feeling a bit more pressure. They do have 2 games in hand over Whitehill, but it's not set in stone that they're going to get any results there. But I think Dalbeattie will still be in sort of, well, maybe not after the result as such, but I think going further into the fixtures in the season, I think they can still keep their heads up and say, look, it's in our court, basically.
Yeah. Ultimately, I'm sure they'll be happy with that side of things, but they will be looking over their shoulders a little bit.
So our next game, BSC Glasgow versus Civil Service Strollers. Not much to say on this one, to be honest. I don't think there was a lot of action going on. It was a goal for Civil Service Strollers. Ian Ballantyne is there to turn it in from close range, and that was the 83rd minute. The 87th minute, Declan Hughes, the midfielder, heads home after Martin Green heads the ball back across the goal. To be honest, we try and be fair in everything, but that sounds like it might have been a bit of, both teams sort of shutting each other down, really. Quite a sort of highly contested game. I don't believe, from what I've seen, that there was a lot of action to talk about. So,
bit of a midfield battle, I think, would be the best way to describe this one. I never actually made it along to the game, unfortunately, so I can't add too much in terms of detail of how the game went. But just from kind of the feedback I've had from it and talking away, both teams cancelling each other out, essentially, is the main message.
Yep.
Civil turned up, a team who have done really, really well this season. Gary has had them organised really well the whole way through the campaign, and they've done it again. They've managed to get something from a game that not many were tipping them to get a point from. They don't tend to concede many goals when you look back, so maybe this shouldn't have been a surprise. Because, going all the way back through December, so they've played BSC, obviously, the other day. They've played Spartans, Edgy Sport, they've played Gretna. They've only ever conceded 1 goal as a maximum in their last kind of 4 or 5 games in the league. So it probably shouldn't be a surprise that they've managed to go to the end of the drill, only concede the 1. And they actually had the lead, so they'll be disappointed not to take all 3 points. And for BSC, I think it's going to be a case of the early season is going to be too much to overcome when the injuries were really biting and points were getting dropped here and there. But it's the end of a hell of a run. It's just been a constant winning run all the way back. Now, if you have a look at the fixture list, even going back through October, so like the last time any points were dropped in the league for BSC was a game we were at against Cumbernauld Colts, and that was the 6th of October. So to have won every single game since then just tells you what a run it's been. But
it's the best in the Lone League from what I remember this season anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only 10 games left. East Kilbride are 6 points clear with a game in hand. It's going to be too little too late, I think, just because Kilby are just so just driven. I just can't see them dropping that many points. But don't get me wrong, the way Swifty is, they will not give up and expect the wins to keep coming.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. In terms of Civil, obviously they're still pushing top 4. BSC, another late goal for them. But all in all, I think it was going to be a tough game. But yeah, I think BSC are probably, like everyone else, I think Kilby might just be too far ahead. Civil Service, though, definitely still in a shout for top 4. Gary Jardine, we spoke about it last week as well, but what a job he's done with Civil this season. Absolutely solid defensively. I think if I know they've got Jordan Hopkinson, Stephen Froud, and they did have Cammy Muirhead on loan from Cowdenbeath. But if they could maybe just get more goals from one striker, I think next season could be a really decent season for them going forward. But then again, they've still got January. They might bring in someone just to push for that final top 4 spot. But yeah, overall, I think from what I heard, it's probably a fair result, given the 2 late goals for each of the sides.
When we get to the end of the season awards, I think Gary Jardine will be in with a shout out manager of the year because he's done a fantastic job with them.
Just before we get into our final game, East Stirlingshire versus Kelty Hearts, we did have a word with the Shire chairman. What's sort of been happening since the last time we spoke at Kelty earlier in the season?
Well, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since we last played across at Kelty. This season's been kind of stop-start, I suppose, is the way I'd describe it. Winning a few games, losing games, drawing games. We just haven't managed to seem to get a run of results to go our way at the moment. But we're looking forward to our match today. Kelty and us are 1 game each, beaten across there. We won here in the cup, so both teams will have a lot to prove as we come into our second match. So I'm quite excited about it. That's where we are at the moment, mate.
Obviously a fantastic facility here at Falkirk Stadium. In terms of when Shire first came into the league and where they are now, is the competition level raised, is the quality raised?
Aye, most definitely. The competition level has increased season on season, to be perfectly honest with you. When we came down, obviously we embraced the whole setup of the Lowland League. We were looking to obviously bounce back as quick as possible. But that wasn't to be. Finished runners up the first season behind East Kilbride. But with the likes of yourself coming in, and next season teams like Bonnie Ragros and other junior teams that are going to come in, I can only see this league becoming stronger and stronger and more difficult to get out of. Obviously East Kilbride have discovered how difficult it is to get out of. They've had 2 chances and they've not managed it. Spartans had the opportunity last year and they've not managed to take it either, so it just shows how difficult it actually is to get out. But I think competition wise, the league is absolutely fantastic. What a great opportunity for any team that comes into this league to showcase their players and also try and get themselves up into the SPFL. So it's an excellent league to be in.
Yep. Even the likes of, you say about opportunity, obviously Dell's the new manager, taking over from John, who left early in the season, but also Andy Rogers coming in as assistant manager. There's opportunity within clubs, not only in terms of players but coaching and whatnot. Do you see Shire going forward with Dell, or are you looking for more of a permanent?
We've always said that Derek is our permanent manager. We've always said that we give him this season and next to see what he could actually do. With a hope that he would take us up. Hopefully this season we were looking at that. To be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't look like that's going to be achievable currently. but there's still the opportunity to finish in that top 4, and then also, push on next season. So Dale obviously has his ideas. We've been really impressed at his the attitude, the professionalism that him and Andy have brought to the training. Not that wasn't the case with other managers we've had before at the club. Every manager we've had is obviously very professional in the way they do it, but Dale have been, for his first kind of foray into management, he's been absolutely first class. So no, Dale will have every opportunity that he can to take us forward. So
we obviously want to thank the Shire Chairman for having a word with us. Getting to this game, to be honest, Mozza, I don't even know where to start this game. It was an absolute thriller. I wouldn't say it was a thriller from start to finish, but certainly that second half was lively. But getting into the goals, obviously, 8 minutes played, great build-up play leads to Chris Dodd slotting home for the opener. It was a chance for Kelty to double the lead within 15 minutes. Diao just a header just over the bar. It was a bit of a theme in the game, but Chris Dodd did get poleaxed by Corner Green, literally just chopped down. To say Scott Taylor Mackenzie for Kelty had an early booking for something similar. 33 minutes played, another chance for Scott Diao as he breaks through the Shire defence, but he just ran out of room, to be honest, to put past the keeper. Shire's Ross Allam goes down in the box just before half time, but he's booked for simulation. I'm sorry, Ross, but it was a clear dive. A couple of minutes into the second half, Scott Diao made it 2-0 Kelty, finally hitting the back of the net. Chris Dodd, the shot was saved by Shire, the Shire keeper Jamie Barclay, but it came out and basically Scott Diao just slides in to make it 2. Again, with the bookends, there was a fair few in the second half. There was a wee bit sort of rammy going on between Willis Hare and Steve Brisbane. I think it was. I mention it because it was a bit of a theme of the game, as we'll get to Mozza. And obviously Scott Diao, he kind of went in late on a foul on Barclay and the Shire goals as well. This for me changed the game. Scott Christie, the Kelty keeper, it was a long ball from Shire. It kind of hit off Kieran Macaulay, and the ball, he was a wee bit out of his box and the ball was kind of going over him, and Ross Allam was basically lurking, so he decided to obviously sort of palm it away, but it was obviously a red card because the handball outside the box. In fairness to him, I think the natural instinct of a goalkeeper is to stop the ball going in the net. But for me, that changed the game. They brought in Michael Gibb, who's a young keeper. I think he's had a few chances this season, but it's tough coming into a game like that, I would suggest. And basically, the resulting free kick, Rogers scored. As I said, I feel a wee bit sorry for Michael Gibb because it is a tough game to come in. But I think he should have done better with the free kick. But it's hard to judge because you don't know what he's seen. Like, the wall might have been sort of in the way of him seeing it or where it's going. But the red card, it was all Shire after that. They had loads of chances, and in the 88th minute it was another goal for Shire. Rogers again with the equaliser. There was a bit of controversy with his celebration.
I'm looking forward to this.
So basically he equalised. He sort of ran, to the sort of dugout area. He pointed at basically the crowd. I don't know if it was the Kelty fans, but he pointed at the crowd. He done a kind of Luis Suarez dive and basically the old get it up you sort of gesture. A lot of people are kind of fans of that. I think it was a wee bit disrespectful. I know a lot of people like that because it's good banter and that, but I don't know, any player, to any club, I think that was a wee bit disrespectful. But in fairness to him, I don't know what was said. I think the players might have been having a few words on the park, so it might have just been out of frustration or celebration or whatever. But I thought it was a wee bit added fuel to the fire, if you will. And to be honest, the game should have ended 2-2. I don't know what the ref was thinking because I think we were at 6.5 minutes when Kelty took the lead. So basically, it was a Kelty free kick, met the head of Stuart Cargill to make it 3-2. The game restarted. David McGaughey goes on this massive run, gets past, I think, 3 Kelty players who I think were probably still thinking, I can't believe we won this. They were probably in, still like, why is this not over sort of thing. I don't know what's going on, but it goes out for a corner. It's whipped in, its ball's bouncing about, and finally Graham McGregor scores to make it 3-3 right on the final whistle. It was a crazy game. Probably I've been to a fair few games concerning Lowland League sides this season, and I think to me that's probably the craziest game so far. Just before we discuss it, mate, I did get a word with Kelty striker Stuart Cargill.
It feels like a loss, and to be honest, it kind of is. Like, you just need to be a wee bit more streetwise than that. When the boy takes centre and he beats 3 boys and they win a corner for it. It can't happen. And then you've got one corner to defend, and I think it bounces off 3 boys' heads, and the boy scores in the 6-yard box. It's not good enough.
Obviously, disappointing in terms of Kelty. Obviously, it looked like they were cruising, and then just madness in the last sort of few minutes of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite unfortunate for Inchi actually, because he's got a decision to make, and I guess he probably is outside the box. I know I've got a great view of it, but he's got to make a decision, and if he doesn't claw it the way back, the boy could run and score an open goal. So he's got to do something. But you need to see a game out at 2-0. You need to be cleverer than that. We need to stay more compact, and we know where we went wrong, and we need to learn from it. I say to the boys at the end, I says, you need to remember this feeling, because I don't want to feel like this again. Obviously, the red card wasn't anything for a physical perspective, and I don't think it was. It was just a.
I just mean the game overall in general.
It was, but you were going to hate games like this. We've shown that we can, when games get like that, we can still get the better hand, and I don't know. I think we just need to be a wee bit more streetwise and see the game out, and we obviously didn't do that. Yep. But there's still positives to take. There are a lot of really good performances out there. To come back and get a goal as well at 2-each, when we could have just sat back and seen it out and tried to held on for the draw. We've still managed to get one in front, and it's just a moment of madness right after it that ends up losing us 2 points.
A lot of players out with the flu as well, so that didn't really help the cause. Yeah. And I don't think, in fairness, I don't think you're quite right either, mate.
No, I'm still feeling the heel a wee bit. So I would imagine I'll be back for next week. I should be 100% for next week. But the boys that had their chance, I thought they stepped in and had done really well. I don't think anybody looked at the place at all. Some of them played really, really well. So they could have given the gaffer a lot of headaches. Now it's maybe a wee bit easier for them considering the way that it went. But
tough one.
Deflated.
Obviously, Stuart Cargill a wee bit deflated with the result there, but what a crazy game. Mozza, absolute mental.
Again, it seems to be another great advert for the league, doesn't it? Thrills and spills and all sorts thrown into the bargain as well. Now, I might disagree with you slightly with the Andy Rodgers thing, because
that's fair.
I'm all for that. Because not only is it a bit of banter and so on, but if you're getting a wee bit of abuse off the fans or off the players you're up against, there's nothing wrong with a bit of over-celebrating, as long as it's within reason. I'm not advocating anyone goes and follows in the footsteps like Sir Robbie Fowler, but a wee bit of it's a bit of a harmless gesture. It's not exactly swaying or anything like that, is it? So that's Andy Rodgers.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is.
He's that kind of guy. He's always played with a chip on his shoulder. I can imagine he was getting it tight as well as the game went. But to be fair, he would have been getting it tight after Kelty took the lead as well, especially in the manner he celebrated. But ultimately, it's ended up Graham McGregor's got him out of jail a wee bit. But some game. But this coupled with the BSC result essentially puts Kilby with one hand on the title, because Kelty were in exactly the same boat. In that they couldn't really afford to drop any points. We said last weekend there was a danger with Shire that they raise their game for the big games, and they've done it again. even in the most unbelievable of circumstances, they've managed to steal a point. So it's promising signs for them that obviously they can compete with any team in the league, but it's a consistency they need to get, especially going into next year when there's been all sorts of turmoil and change this season for them. They need to basically get everyone settled down, get a quiet, kind of close season where they can build the squad again, however big it needs to be, even if it's a group of small professionals that are all together, or bringing in some of the young lads to pad it out a bit and get moving again, basically, because it's been one of those up and down years for them that I don't think they're going to look back on with too much pride when they look at the final league table.
Exactly how Bill described it when we were talking to him. He basically said that they're sticking with Dell, which is really good. They're going to see how this season goes, and then obviously next season. But yeah, they want to be back up there. I think they want to be back competing with the likes of East Kilbride. The Falkirk facility is absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed my time there. It was, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, obviously it was a bit of a weird one being high up in the rafters of a stadium at a Lowland League game watching it, but fantastic. Shire, I think they just smelled blood after the red card. You know what I mean? They were just all over Kelty, and it's in fairness to Kelty, Stuart Cargill mentioned it, but they didn't sort of sit back. They still went for the win. But in terms of the Andy Rodgers thing, there was a few rammies. Finn Graham obviously speaking to the ref about tackles. I think what was going on. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing wrong with them sort of games. It's like that in Scottish football. I think everyone will agree that there is a bit of that between players. I'd be more worried if the players weren't fighting for that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, at this stage of the season, you could get players not really caring what the final score is. If you've got a little bit of needle and a little bit of fight there, you know that every man on that field is caring about the final result. Is the other thing, especially obviously from Kelty, they still think they can go and at the time think they can challenge for the league still. But for Shire, who technically don't really have anything to play for now, the fact that they're still fighting away is a good sign, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And just a note, by the way, on the fans, I thought the fans were fantastic. I mentioned it earlier in the season when Shire came up to Kelty. I think probably two of the most supported clubs. I think that's fair to say, that Kelty and East Lancashire.
I'd say so.
Next season, when these two teams play each other, I'm looking forward to that, because I think it will be. I think they're developing a wee bit of a rivalry there between the two clubs. I think, given the results,
there's something brewing there, definitely.
Yeah, as I say, I'm all for that. I think Kelty, when you go 3-2 up with 5 minutes of injury time, I think you're probably thinking we won this. So I think they probably had that in their minds, and then Shire, as I said, absolutely deadly, just took advantage of it. And well played to David McGawkey, who just literally ran up the park after the goal. We never gave up, and then Graham McGregor putting it in. As I say, you could probably criticise the Kelty defending a wee bit, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's kind of unbelievable that you've sort of snatched a win, and then Shire were obviously focused and determined that they're not getting the win, and that's exactly what happened. But what a game! What a game that was. Right, getting into next week's fixtures, we'll start with Civil Service Strollers. They're back at home and they're playing Whitehill Welfare. Tough one. Whitehill Welfare, we've mentioned, have improved. I think they'll fancy their chances, having just drawn with Sparrans and were unlucky not to get a draw with BSC. Civil Service Strollers still chasing top four. Bit of a Edinburgh derby, I would say.
Yeah, a bit of a kind of north and south clash there. Both teams coming off draws where they might feel they should have got all 3 points, and it doesn't matter at this stage if Welfare fancy their chances. They have to. They need to get going. So every game from this point on, the cliche still stands. It's a cup final now. So they'll go in looking to get the 3 points. They won't even be thinking, well, we'll steal a point here and steal a point there. They'll be going for the wins every week now. And there's clearly confidence in that team, the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks. Strollers, exactly the same, and they've gone in to play against BSC just the weekend there. A team that hadn't lost in months and months, and they very nearly took all 3 points. So there's no issues there in terms of what they believe they can do. That's a massive game. Massive game.
Definitely. And speaking of massive games, obviously Dalbeattie Star versus Cumbernauld Colts. Dalbeattie not quite out of the relegation battle with Whitehill yet. They'll be hoping to get back to winning ways, and obviously Cumbernauld Colts coming off that 3-0 loss to East Kilbride as well. So both teams looking for a win, really.
Yeah, and this is a kind of game that Dalbeattie will be looking at. It's the home games that will be big for them now. Colts need to travel down. They've not been in fantastic form the last little while. Star will fancy their chances there, I think, of picking up something.
Yep. The league leaders, East Kilbride versus Gretna. Gretna coming off that fantastic result against Dalbeattie, but East Kilbride absolutely solid. They're a bit like a locomotive at the moment. I don't think they're going to stop. But Gretna, I think I mentioned it as one of my fixtures that could be a bit of a snag for them. But even if they drop points, I don't think they'll be too concerned. Going into they're very much in charge of the title charge, basically.
I don't see them dropping points this weekend anyway, because that's a journey for Gretna to make, first of all, and it's the toughest away day in the league, I suggest. So the way Kilby are going just now, I'd expect them to score a couple of goals and get the 3 points. More to the point, I was worried you were going to burst into locomotion there, so thank God you did.
Brilliant.
But you never know, because Gretna obviously coming off such a big result there. They could steal something, but I just can't see it.
Edinburgh Uni versus East Stirlingshire, that should be a good game. I've seen both the teams recently, both got a bit of a fighting spirit about them, as we know. Yeah, I think it'll be a tough game. I think you're probably looking at both teams going out to get a result, and both certainly capable of it. We saw Shire's fight against Kelty, and we obviously saw Edinburgh's determination against Stirling Uni at the weekend.
Yeah, I think Shire are more suited when a team is attacking them, because they can hit in the break. Edinburgh Uni are exactly the same, so I wouldn't expect too many goals in that one. I think that'll be a tight, tense game, and it's exactly the kind of game that Dorian and the Uni have been getting their points from this year, so we'll see if they can keep it up, or if Shire can basically be spurred on for a late charge.
Yep, Edisport versus Gallagherydine. Gallagherydine back after their week off, and Edisport still looking for a win. I think 5 losses. It was 4 or 5 losses on the bounce, so they're at home against Gala, who they put 6 past Vale the last time they played. It's going to be difficult for Edisport, but they really need to start winning to sort of keep them with a slim chance of being in the top 4. I think it's very slim at this point in time.
Yeah, this is a tough one to call. I think I'd marginally side with Gala, just because of the form they've been in recently, but in terms of the two of them, I should say, it's not just Gala's form of side. Sport have struggled a wee bit recent times, but they're a team that can easily turn that around in the space of a game or two, so it's almost impossible to predict that one. So I'll stay sitting on the fence, I think.
Kelty versus University of Stirling. Kelty Hearts back at home after 2 away games. It'll be the first time I see University of Stirling this season in person. Obviously we see a lot of their highlights and how they're doing and stuff, but
yeah.
I would expect Kelty to try and get back to winning ways. As I say, they were probably unlucky against East Stirlingshire. They did have, in fairness, a lot of sort of players out with the flu as well, which could have made a difference. But I suppose there's probably other teams in the league that had similar things this time of year. But I would give University of Stirling a chance in that game, certainly. I think it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah. You'll see when you watch them, they play nice, tidy, pretty attractive football when they're on song. Although I think that plays more into Kelty's hands, because where Kelty's had an issue in recent times has been if there's guys up front, so they're kind of getting bullied at the back. We saw Martin Green have a rare old time against them a few weeks back. So University of Stirling aren't really like that. They don't really have a bullying target man up front. They're they rely more on their kind of passing football and constructing moves, working the ball into the box. So when you look at it like that, it shouldn't be too much of a concern for Kelty if they play the way we know they can play, because they're not kind of trying to challenge them in a way they've struggled with in recent times. But it's going to be a tight one again. I can't see it being too high a scoreline.
Just before we get into our last game, obviously it will involve Martin Green, but I'm going to officially call that the Martin Green, where a big target man up front pushing in the back of defenders. that is
I think you'll find Martin wouldn't call it pushing, he'd call it making himself felt.
Yep. Spartans versus BSC at Ainsley Park, another tough one. Spartans, I think, as we've mentioned, I think their chances of retaining the title are over. Similarly with BSC, I think it's going to be a tough challenge. But Spartans, I think they'll go out and try and beat BSC. Certainly, I think BSC will try and do the same with Spartans. It's a tough one, but Spartans, for me at Ainsley Park, as I've mentioned before, I think they're a bit of a different team. I think they do better at home than they do away this season anyway. And I don't know, it's tough because BSC, they've been in two tough games the last couple of weeks, Whitehill versus Civil, but I don't know if it's just a drop in the momentum because they're not going out and beating teams 4-5-0, whereas if it's maybe that they've just had a challenge, and they'll certainly get a challenge with Spartans at Ainsley Park.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a kind of drop in momentum or so. And there have been one or two injury issues cropping in again. You've seen Davy Verlak's been covering centre half, which is not his normal position. So there's been a little bit of rejigging of where players are playing, and that obviously has an impact on the kind of comfort levels and so on. But I'm gutted I'm not going to make it to that game because it's on paper exactly what you want in this league. Two teams that are more than capable of beating each other. Both of them want to get the points for their respective positions in the table, and Spartans are a tough out at home as well, so everything's suggesting that that's going to be a cracking game as well, be it kind of tense and tight or be it more of a goal fest. It could go either way, to be honest. So if any neutrals are listening in looking for a game, that's the one I suggest getting yourself along to in Edinburgh this weekend.
Yep. I'm kind of on a similar note to yourself, mate. I would probably make that match of the week, but then it was probably going to be a 1-1, so I'm cursed.
I mean, when you look at the fixtures, I think that one there, just in terms of a neutral, would be the one you pick out.
Absolutely.
But in terms of sheer importance of the games, you'd maybe look at the Civil Service Strollers Whitehill Welfare game as well. Both games are in Edinburgh, right enough. So spoiled for choice if you're near the capital.
Definitely. That brings an end to next weekend's fixtures. Time for plugs, mate. Obviously, we'll plug the official catch-up Twitter first, since it's new. We obviously mentioned that we have our own Twitter. I'm not a Facebook man, so it's probably only going to be on Twitter. So, but it's at official catch-up on Twitter. Do you want to plug, mate, as often you do?
Yeah, well, only because you invite me to. So if you're looking for us individually on Twitter, you'll find us through the official catch-up account. I'm at Mozza Plays, and you'll find Rampant at
Rampant FM. Easy enough.
There you go. Nice and well timed. But yeah, we're back in the swing of things. That you'll find the recordings all over the place on SoundCloud and iTunes, YouTube with the videos as well. I'm not going to be on the next couple of weeks because obviously I'm sure you'll all be gutted for me, but I'm off to Cuba on honeymoon, so my mind will be at Ainsley Park on Saturday. It won't just be heading over to Havana, honestly. But I'm sure, like Rampant, you've got more than capable hands to keep you going, and are you maybe going to get a wee guest or two on as well?
I'm hoping so. It depends what the feedback is. Certainly we're going to, every game we're going to continue player interviews, and I'm hoping maybe to get a word with Chris Geddes or David Chandler next week. I don't know if David's going to be at the game, but we're certainly... Obviously, I'm following Kelty at the moment because obviously the Fife team, so it'll be a lot of Kelty stuff. It's, just to be transparent in that. Obviously, you guys have noticed, but that's probably me until the end of the season, just because there's Kelty are playing a lot of teams that I haven't seen. University of Stirling, they're playing Gretna soon, who I've not seen. And obviously they've got East Kilbride coming up. I think the majority of teams I've actually seen now most of the season, in fairness, but it's just a chance to obviously... I think it's easier following one team to see everyone at least once or twice than maybe going about the ground sort of thing, like I was doing earlier in the season. But no, I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks and seeing what happens. Obviously I'll try and keep you updated on your mission to Cuba. But obviously, we want to thank everyone for getting involved. We want to thank the players and the managers as well that have followed us on the official catch-up tour. We try and promote the league, like we mentioned earlier, for you guys and the fans, just everyone. And we appreciate, obviously, all the support, and we appreciate people getting involved as well. And we obviously want to thank Michael Park and George Fraser for their support. And the league in general, it's been a fantastic experience. When we first started this in August 2018, I think the sport's been unreal everywhere I go. I hear that we're sort of doing a good job. I don't think there's been major criticisms. I think the one thing was that we weren't over the festive period doing it every week, but we're getting back to doing it every week. So we just hope that we get more involvement. I think that's been lacking lately, but I think it's just, as I say, the festive period. And now that we're out that, we'll hopefully ramp that up again. And we want to thank everyone for the highlights they do, the clubs and whatnot. It's overall a great experience. It's a privilege to promote the league.
Absolutely. And then if any of you players that listen along, if you want to come on at any point, give us a shout. We'll be more than happy to have you in as well.
Yeah, definitely. As long as you've got an opinion and it's not too overly supporting of one team, then we're happy to hear from you.
Andy, if you want to come on and tell Rampant why he's wrong, please do.
As I say, I don't know what was said on the pitch. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of niggling, to say the least. I'll use that word. So that's another episode. Obviously, Mozza won't be here in the next couple of weeks, but we will miss him. We will miss you, mate, I think. but hopefully you enjoy your holiday, your honeymoon in Cuba, and we'll see you again next week.